Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm Anand Chokkavelu, and we've got longtime fools Toby Bordelon and Matt Frankel giving a 1 to 10 rating to the company that copied its signature Big Mac from the Big Boy Double Deck hamburger, now just called the Big Boy. It's McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD. I'm excited for this one. We'll rate the strength of McDonald's business, including factors like industry and competition. A 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. Matt's at a 9. Toby, you're a little lower at a 7.
Yeah, we got everyone's favorite fast food restaurant here. Not really, but maybe everyone's favorite go-to in a pinch fast food restaurant. It is the largest fast food chain in the United States by number of locations. I think the largest in the world. There may be some question about that, but it's certainly really, really big. Anyway, a 7 on the business here. Very strong brand, very well known, leader in the industry. The big problem for them, I think, is twofold. One, where do you go from here, right? You're already about as big as it gets. How do you grow, right? And second, this is a really super competitive industry, and it's starting to become clear that McDonald's has limited pricing power. With rising costs becoming more of an issue, I just worry a little bit that they're going to get squeezed on profits here.
Yeah, I mean, I like their model. It's a little different than how most restaurants do it. They have very few corporate-owned stores, for example. They have a 95% franchising model. They own most of the real estate that their franchisees operate out of. The real estate's worth a lot more than it looks like on their balance sheet, by the way. It's just a really solid, well-run business, but at the same time, I feel like McDonald's is somewhat behind the curve in a few different ways. It's a very competitive industry, and consumer tastes have changed from when you and I were children. McDonald's were very different than they are today. And I'm not sure they've done the best job of keeping up with the times as they could have. So I gave it a 9 just because I think it's a business that essentially runs itself at this point. But where does it go from here?
I'm one of the only adults around who will admit that they love McDonald's.
I'm not allowed to eat McDonald's.
We'll talk about that later. All right. For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Matt's at a 7. Toby, you're at a 6.
Yeah, I think management is fine, but I'm honestly not super impressed. Matt alluded to some of this, but CEO Chris Kimsinski, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has led the business since 2019, which means he was CEO during the COVID pandemic, right? It was a challenging time, and props to him and his team for navigating that era, but I feel like they could have done more. McDonald's is synonymous with drive-through, and COVID should have been their time to shine. But they really didn't rise to the top there. The app is fine, not great. Tech innovations are good, but not really where you'd want them to be execution-wise, I think. Look, McDonald's is a franchise business, sure. But I think more leadership and guidance from the top is necessary on innovation. I'm really not seeing that. Staffing levels at restaurant don't seem great. Training seems to have fallen off a bit in the days of my use. Again, some of that is franchisee issues, but leadership at top could help some of that. It looks like a business that's falling behind in a lot of ways to me.
Yeah, and I mean, on the tech side of things, I gave a 7. On the tech side of things, they're doing okay. I like that you can walk in and order from a computer. I mean, that makes it, that's a very nice touch compared to a lot of fast food restaurants. On the menu is where I think they've really fallen behind the curve, and where there's really been opportunity for innovation. Just in the past decade, just consumer taste. I mentioned it a second ago, just kind of jokingly, that I'm not allowed to eat McDonald's, and it's true. They need more things on the menu for people like me, who like their kids love chicken nuggets, but I'd like a nice salad or something. And they've pivoted to that a little bit, but I feel like not as much as they could have. And I feel like that is a leadership issue, that they don't abandon your Big Macs and your burgers, but definitely cater to the more health conscious crowd that loved McDonald's as a kid, and really wants a reason to go back.
I feel like they go back and forth on expanding out the menu and then trying to simplify it, and it's always hard to get that just right.
And the simple version will get me to go in there once a year. Whereas if there was if there was more things that I could eat on a regular basis, I don't need a Big Mac every, you should see me if I'd have a Big Mac every day. But I need other options.
Right on. Let's talk about financials. A 10 is a fortress. A 1 is yikes. Matt's at a 7. Toby, you're at a 6.
Yeah, 6 here. Balance sheet is okay. They have a ton of debt, though, right? $38 billion in long-term debt versus just over $1 billion in cash at the end of last year. Now, that debt is supporting a bunch of property and equipment and also, as Matt noted, a ton of real estate, which isn't recorded at market value on the financials. So you got to factor that in there, right? They are very cash flow positive, so I think it's fine. I wish it were lower, but it's not a huge concern right now. My bigger problem really is with that most recent quarter they put up, which is showing signs of its deteriorating business in some ways. Revenue down, same store sales down, operating income down. You kind of get the idea from that. Just one quarter. Don't want to get too excited about this. But it does kind of paint a picture for me of a company that's struggling to figure out how it's going to grow from where they are.
I would actually give it a little bit of a higher rating because of that real estate, which is my area of expertise. I think McDonald's real estate assets are really underappreciated. This is a company that's not that far from being able to be classified as a REIT if it wanted to. When you carry real estate on a balance sheet, it's valued at $34 billion right now. That is the price that they paid for it, some of which was like in the 60s, and minus depreciation. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of value just hidden on that balance sheet for a real estate company that has, as we were talking about before the show, a $230 billion market cap. $38 billion of debt is nothing for a real estate company with that size. So I'm very comfortable with that amount of debt. But the stagnant sales growth is what really stands out to me in terms of the financials. And that's why I didn't give it any higher than a 7. As far as I'd give their balance sheet a 9.
Well, Matt, you mentioned the word stagnant, so let's talk valuation. Let's see how well you think their stock will do over the next 5 years. How safe is it? 10's a sure thing, 1's a lottery ticket.
I said 5 to 10%, and I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here. It's more of a real estate prediction than anything else. The value of commercial real estate really is derived by the interest rate environment, and I see the interest rate environment falling significantly over the next few years, which would make the real estate assets on its balance sheet inherently worth more. So I think that's a big part of my return calculation there. It's not that I think their sales are going to grow necessarily by 10% per year. I do think it'll market perform, and a big reason to that is it's a more rate sensitive stock than people think. And as far as safety, I give it an 8. I don't see any scenario in 5 years where McDonald's is getting crushed. So I gave it an 8 for safety.
Yeah, I went with 5 to 10% on the returns here. I think it's probably towards the middle of that range, not so much on the higher end. Personally, the brand is really strong, right? I think they have a floor in terms of customer traffic, and a recession may actually boost their near-term prospects here. But I don't really expect them to beat the market, quite honestly. I think a market matcher is where they are. Safety, 7 for me. There is a risk of continued deterioration, but they're not in a big danger right now. I don't see a ton of growth from them coming, but I don't think they're going to fall that much either. So it looks like a relatively safe investment to me.
Top at time, Matt, is there a company you like better than McDonald's in their space?
Starbucks, the company that has fallen behind the curve a little bit and is doing something about it.
Yeah, for me, I take your pick, I think. Look, Chipotle, Starbucks, as Matt noted, Wingstop over McDonald's. All those, I think, are actually better run right now, and they have better growth prospects in terms of the ability to grow more rapidly.
Thank you to both Toby and to Matt. They've given McDonald's an all-right overall score of 6.7 out of 10. A sausage egg McMuffin gets a 9 out of 10. But it'd be a 10 if they went back to the old English muffins they used to do. I don't know what they've been doing in recent years. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is SoFi. Till then, Fool on.
You don't get rich by making 1.5% off a 15-cent hamburger. You make it by owning the land that burger's cooked on and making them pay rent to you.